Building on time? I've been wanting to try to build something for speed for a long time. Let's learn how to build Venom.
Round 1.
Black wool is the perfect foundation for building Venom because almost his entire body is covered by the famous living symbiote. Even though he often looks like he's wearing an ordinary black suit, comic artists rarely draw him as a flat black character. Instead, they add bright highlights and subtle shapes that make his body appear glossy, almost like it's made from living liquid. Minecraft doesn't have those reflections, so different block colors become the best way to recreate the same illusion. I mainly build with black wool because its soft texture keeps the character looking clean from a distance, while carefully placed white wool helps separate muscles, define the spider emblem, and make the face much easier to recognize. It's a good reminder that contrast is often more important than using lots of different colors. Sometimes 2 or 3 carefully chosen blocks can create a much stronger result than an entire rainbow of materials. One of Venom's most recognizable features is his terrifying face, so I spend extra attention shaping it with white wool before adding a long tongue from bright red wool. The tongue instantly changes his expression, making him look far more aggressive and bringing the statue to life. Interestingly, Venom didn't always have such a dramatic appearance. In his earliest comic book appearances, his tongue was much shorter and wasn't the defining feature that fans know today. Over the years, artists exaggerated his mouth, teeth, and tongue to make him appear even more monstrous, and those details eventually became part of his iconic design. It's fascinating how a character can slowly evolve through dozens of different comic artists, while still remaining instantly recognizable around the world. One of the biggest challenges when building characters in Minecraft is making them recognizable from a long distance instead of only up close. That's why Venom's broad shoulders, massive jaw, oversized hands, and long tongue are all slightly exaggerated. Professional artists often simplify or enlarge important features because the human brain recognizes silhouettes much faster than tiny details. This technique is used not only in comics, but also in animation, video games, and even logo design. A strong silhouette allows someone to identify a character almost instantly, even if they're standing far away. Venom is a perfect example of this principle. Even before every small detail is complete, his powerful proportions and distinctive shape already make it obvious who the statue represents, showing that good design depends just as much on overall form as it does on fine decoration. Great! My Venom is ready.
Hello?
Hey, Carrie, look! I built it in less than 5 minutes. Do you like?
Yay!
Really? I am very glad that you like my makeshift construction. Maybe then, you can try to build Venom yourself in just 10 minutes?
Ta-da!
They ran to the place. This is where your building will be. Are you ready?
Yay!
Then go ahead.
Round 2.
I can already hear Carrie making excited little sounds while she starts building Venom from the ground up. She chooses black wool for both legs, giving them a surprisingly chunky shape instead of making them long and slim. At first, the proportions seem a little unusual, but building characters in Minecraft often means exaggerating certain features so they remain recognizable in a blocky world. Thick legs also provide a stronger base for the large body that will sit on top, making the entire statue look more stable. Real sculptors use a similar principle when creating large statues, carefully designing a solid lower section that can visually support everything above it. Even though Venom is usually shown as a muscular character rather than a chubby one, Carrie's version already has its own funny personality, making him look both powerful and surprisingly adorable at the same time. Carrie happily keeps building upward, and I watch as the wide chest of her Venom begins taking shape. She uses white wool to outline the rib-like pattern stretching across the front of his body, then fills every gap between those shapes with black wool. This striking contrast is one of Venom's most recognizable features because it immediately breaks up the dark body and makes the design much easier to read from a distance. Comic book artists often rely on bold areas of contrast instead of tiny details, since strong color separation helps characters remain recognizable even in fast-paced action scenes. The same idea works perfectly in Minecraft, where large patterns are usually much more effective than intricate decorations that disappear from far away. Carrie keeps expanding the chest, making the white rib pattern even larger so it stretches across most of the front of the body. The dark gaps between the ribs create deep shadows that make the torso look much more three-dimensional, even though it's built from simple wool blocks. This is a useful building trick because alternating light and dark colors can create the illusion of depth without adding extra layers. Venom's chest symbol has changed many times throughout Marvel history, but artists almost always keep a strong white pattern on a black background because the contrast is what makes the character instantly recognizable. Carrie's version may be simpler than the comic design, yet the oversized ribs actually work surprisingly well in Minecraft, where bold shapes are often more important than perfect accuracy. Carrie moves on to Venom's arms, shaping them from black wool just like the rest of the body. Instead of adding fingers, muscles, or other small details, she keeps both arms very simple, almost like two large stumps attached to the sides of the torso. It might seem unusual at first, but simplifying less important parts is actually a common technique in Minecraft building. Every extra detail takes both time and space, so builders often decide which parts deserve the most attention and which can remain basic. Saving complexity for the head or chest helps the viewer focus on the features that define the character instead of getting distracted by details that are difficult to notice from a distance. Carrie doesn't seem bothered by the simple design at all. She happily continues placing black wool until both arms match in size and proportion, giving Venom a broad and powerful silhouette. Character designers often talk about the importance of visual weight, which describes how large or heavy different parts of a character appear. Even without detailed hands, thick arms make Venom look much stronger because the brain naturally associates wide limbs with physical power. That's one of the reasons many superheroes and comic book villains are drawn with exaggerated proportions. They aren't meant to look perfectly realistic, they're meant to look memorable. And Carrie's chunky little Venom is already accomplishing exactly that. Carrie lets out another cheerful little sound as Venom's head begins to take shape. She builds most of it from black wool, making it much larger than the body, so the statue instantly grabs your attention. Oversized heads are very common in Minecraft statues because they leave much more room for facial details. If the head is too small, important features become difficult to recognize, especially when players view the build from the ground. By giving Venom such a large face, Carrie's version stays easy to identify even from a considerable distance, proving that good proportions in Minecraft don't always have to match real-life anatomy. The face quickly becomes the most expressive part of the entire build. Carrie uses white wool to create Venom's huge eyes and rows of sharp teeth before adding a long red tongue stretching from his mouth. These three colors, black, white, and red, work together to create one of the most iconic faces in comic book history. Interestingly, people usually recognize Venom by his facial features long before they notice the rest of his body. Our brains naturally pay the most attention to faces, which is why character designers spend so much time making them unique. Even in a block-based game like Minecraft, a well-designed face can make an otherwise simple statue feel full of personality and instantly recognizable. Carrie keeps adding layer after layer of black wool to the back of Venom's head, gradually covering every empty space until the entire shape becomes much smoother and more rounded. Even though Minecraft is built entirely from cubes, experienced builders rarely leave the backs of statues completely flat. Instead, they slowly extend different sections to imitate the curved forms that exist in real life. a simple technique, but it has a huge impact on the final appearance because players almost never look at a build from only one direction. As soon as someone walks around the statue, those additional layers help the head feel much more natural and convincing. Real sculptors follow a very similar approach, constantly checking their work from every possible angle to make sure the proportions remain balanced no matter where the viewer is standing. A successful statue should never rely on a single perfect viewpoint. More black wool continues filling the remaining gaps until the back of the head matches the size of the face. This stage may not seem very exciting, but it's one of the most important parts of building large Minecraft characters. Many beginners spend nearly all their time decorating the front because that's the side shown in most screenshots, while the back is often forgotten or left almost flat. Professional builders think differently. They design statues as complete three-dimensional models, making every side look finished because players are free to walk around the build at any moment. This idea is borrowed from traditional sculpture, where artists have always considered the silhouette from every direction instead of treating the back as something hidden. The extra layers also make the head appear much sturdier, preventing it from looking paper-thin compared to the wide shoulders and bulky body that Carrie has already created. With the final openings covered, Venom's head now has a strong, rounded silhouette that ties the entire statue together. Large character builds usually become recognizable because of their overall proportions long before anyone notices the tiny details, which is why experienced builders focus on the biggest shapes first and only then worry about decorations. Character designers use exactly the same principle in animation, comics, and video games. Before adding wrinkles, teeth, muscles, or facial expressions, they make sure the silhouette alone can identify the character in a single glance. Venom is one of the best examples of this design philosophy. His massive jaw, broad head, oversized shoulders, and long tongue create such a distinctive outline that people can recognize him even as a simple black silhouette. Carrie's version follows the same idea surprisingly well. Even though it isn't packed with tiny details, its proportions immediately communicate who the character is, proving that a strong foundation is often far more important than endless decoration.
Ta-da! Yay!
Where did everyone run off to? Hey guys, what's all that noise?
Carrie and I are building Venom on time, JJ. Who did it better?
Oh, both of your buildings look great, but I think it's up to the audience to decide who did the best.
Yes, JJ, you're right. Maybe then you have comments on the construction of Carrie.
Yes, there are a couple of comments. I don't quite understand why Venom has such a short and wide tongue. This is not canonical at all.
I totally agree with you, JJ. Maybe then you can build your Venom in 15 minutes?
Okay, then let's run to the place.
JJ, good luck to you. We'll wait in the house.
That's it?
Thanks, guys. Then I'm starting. Round 3. Strong character statues are built on proportions long before they're built on details, which is exactly why I begin by outlining Venom's legs instead of rushing straight to the head. The lower half of any statue acts as its foundation, determining how powerful, agile, or intimidating the finished character will appear. Venom has always been portrayed with an incredibly muscular physique, so narrow legs would immediately make him feel less convincing no matter how detailed the rest of the build became. I sketched the outline carefully with black concrete, paying close attention to the width of each leg and the distance between them. A wide stance naturally communicates stability and strength because our brains associate broad support with heavy weight. Architects rely on a similar visual principle when designing massive buildings, often widening the lower sections to make tall structures feel secure and grounded. Even though Minecraft physics don't require balance, the human eye still expects it, which is why correct proportions are often more important than adding dozens of decorative blocks. With this stance established, I begin shaping Venom's torso by creating the large rib-like pattern across his chest with white concrete. This striking design has become one of the character's most recognizable features, standing out sharply against the dark symbiote covering the rest of his body. High contrast plays an important role in visual design because it helps people recognize shapes much faster, especially from long distances. Comic book artists frequently exaggerate bright symbols and facial features for exactly this reason. In Minecraft, the effect becomes even more valuable because players often view statues from dozens of blocks away, where tiny details disappear. A bold white pattern immediately catches the eye and gives the entire build a clear focal point, preventing the large black body from blending into one solid mass. Sometimes, a single, carefully placed color can define an entire character more effectively than hundreds of additional blocks. Once the white chest pattern is complete, black concrete gradually fills the surrounding areas until the upper body begins looking solid and complete. Concrete is especially useful for statues because it has a smooth surface without visible patterns, allowing the overall shape to remain the center of attention. Many textured blocks create visual noise, making large sculptures appear messy from a distance, while plain materials help emphasize clean silhouettes and strong geometry. This same principle is often used in modern architecture, where simple materials such as concrete, steel, and glass allow the building's form to become the main artistic element. Instead of relying on decoration, designers let proportions, shadows, and contrast create visual interest. Applying that philosophy in Minecraft often produces statues that feel cleaner, more realistic, and much easier to recognize. As the torso grows taller, Venom's powerful physique starts becoming obvious even before the smaller features are added. That's one of the fascinating aspects of character design. People rarely identify a character by tiny details first. Our brains naturally process the largest shapes before noticing individual elements like eyes, teeth, or textures. Professional animators often test their designs by turning characters into completely black silhouettes. If viewers can still recognize them instantly, the proportions are doing their job correctly. Venom consistently passes that test because of his enormous chest, broad shoulders, and imposing stance. By focusing on those defining shapes first, I'm building a statue that already captures the character's identity long before the head, tongue, or facial expression are even completed. One of the easiest ways to make a Minecraft statue feel lifeless is giving both arms exactly the same position. Real people almost never stand in perfectly symmetrical poses, especially powerful comic book characters who are usually shown in the middle of an action scene. That's why I decide to give Venom an asymmetrical stance. His right arm hangs naturally beside his body, while the left stretches forward as if he's about to grab an opponent. Even a small difference like this completely changes the personality of the statue. Character artists often refer to this as creating a dynamic pose, where the body suggests movement, even though the model itself remains completely still. This technique has been used for centuries in sculpture because it allows a frozen figure to feel alive. Although black concrete forms almost the entire arm, I deliberately introduce a few sections of gray concrete to break up the surface. At first glance, the color difference is subtle, yet it adds much more depth than using a single material everywhere. Artists have relied on this idea long before Minecraft existed. Instead of painting objects with only one shade, they introduce slightly lighter and darker tones to imitate reflected light and create the illusion of volume. In digital art, this process is known as shading, while sculptors achieve a similar effect through carefully shaped surfaces that catch light differently from every angle. Minecraft builders have to solve the same problem using blocks instead of brushes, so choosing a second shade often becomes one of the simplest ways to make a statue feel less flat. The gray accents don't distract from Venom's iconic black appearance, but they subtly emphasize the muscles and help the arms stand out against the rest of the body, making the entire silhouette look richer and far more believable. The face is where Venom's identity truly comes together, but building a memorable head isn't about making it as complicated as possible. The most recognizable characters usually rely on a handful of bold features that immediately catch the eye, even from a great distance. I begin shaping the head with black and white concrete, focusing on its overall proportions before thinking about the smaller details. The head is intentionally oversized compared to a real human because exaggerated proportions are one of the oldest techniques in character design. Whether it's comic books, animated films, or video games, artists often enlarge the most expressive parts of a character so they're instantly recognizable. In Minecraft, this principle becomes even more valuable. A larger head provides enough space to create clear facial features without making them feel cramped, allowing the statue to remain impressive whether someone is standing right beside it or looking from the other side of the map. White concrete quickly becomes one of the most important materials in the build because it defines Venom's enormous eyes and terrifying smile. Those bright elements create a dramatic contrast against the black body, drawing attention exactly where people naturally look first: the face. Human brains are wired to recognize faces almost instantly, which is why designers spend so much time refining expressions and eye shapes. Interestingly, the famous white eyes don't contain visible pupils. Instead, comic artists rely entirely on their shape and angle to communicate emotion. By changing nothing more than the curve of the eyes, Venom can appear furious, amused, confident, or ready to attack. It's a fascinating example of how a simple design can become incredibly expressive, proving that powerful visual communication doesn't always require complicated details. Once the front is complete, I continue building the head from every direction instead of leaving the back flat. Many builders naturally focus on the face because that's where most screenshots are taken. But a successful statue should feel complete from every angle. Professional sculptors often walk around their work dozens of times during the creative process, constantly checking whether the silhouette remains balanced no matter where it is viewed. Minecraft statues benefit from exactly the same mindset. Adding depth to the back of the head creates smoother transitions, stronger proportions, and a much more convincing overall shape. Even though those blocks might receive less attention than the face itself, they're responsible for making the entire sculpture feel solid instead of looking like a detailed mask attached to a thin wall. No version of Venom would feel complete without his unmistakable tongue, so I shape a long, twisting form from bright red concrete that extends well beyond his mouth. That vivid splash of color immediately becomes another focal point because it interrupts the otherwise monochrome palette. Color theory explains why this works so well. When a scene is dominated by neutral shades, even a small amount of a saturated color naturally attracts attention. Comic artists have used this principle for decades, making Venom's tongue longer and more dramatic with each new interpretation until it became one of his defining characteristics. Curved forms naturally guide the viewer's eyes through a composition, creating energy that straight lines simply can't achieve. It's remarkable how adding a single flowing element can make an entirely static Minecraft build feel as though the character could spring to life at any moment. Extending Venom's left arm with black stained glass creates a completely different impression than simply making it longer with more concrete. Glass has a smoother, lighter appearance that subtly separates the extended section from the rest of the arm without breaking the character's signature color palette. Minecraft builders often combine blocks with similar colors but different textures to make large statues feel more dynamic, especially when working with characters that don't naturally use many different colors. In real sculpture, artists rely on changes in surface finish to achieve a similar effect. A polished section reflects light differently from a rough one, allowing different parts of the sculpture to stand out without introducing new colors. Black stained glass works surprisingly well for this purpose because it feels slightly lighter and more refined than concrete, giving the outstretched arm extra visual energy while keeping Venom's intimidating appearance intact. One of the biggest challenges when designing action poses is convincing the viewer that the character is moving, even though every block remains perfectly still. Extending only one arm helps create that illusion because asymmetrical compositions naturally feel more energetic than perfectly balanced ones. Artists often describe this as creating a visual flow, where the eye is guided through the artwork instead of stopping in one place. The extended arm becomes the beginning of that journey, pulling attention outward before leading it back toward Venom's chest and face. This simple adjustment changes the entire personality of the statue. Instead of looking like a character standing still for a photograph, Venom now appears ready to leap into action at any moment. It's impressive how changing the length of a single limb can dramatically alter the emotional impact of an entire build. Venom wouldn't truly feel complete without the living symbiote spreading beyond his body, so I begin shaping 2 tendrils on each side of his back using black concrete. These aren't ordinary decorations. In Marvel Comics, the symbiote is portrayed as a living alien organism that constantly shifts, stretches, and changes shape depending on its surroundings and emotions. Because of that, artists rarely draw Venom with perfectly smooth outlines. Instead, they add flowing extensions that make him appear unstable, almost as though the symbiote is continuously growing and moving. Recreating that effect in Minecraft is challenging because blocks naturally create straight lines, so each tendril has to curve gradually to avoid looking stiff. Even simple bends and changing lengths help the organic forms stand apart from the rigid geometry of the statue itself. Looking at the build, I realized something important. Good proportions and careful detailing alone probably won't be enough to win this challenge. Minecraft offers powerful building commands for a reason, and experienced builders often use them whenever speed matters. Professional map creators rarely construct every large structure block by block from the very beginning. Instead, they save their best creations as reusable templates that can be placed, modified, and improved whenever a new project requires them. This approach doesn't replace creativity. It simply removes repetitive work, allowing builders to spend more time perfecting the final result rather than recreating the same structure over and over again. Since I already built a much more detailed Venom in the past, using that previous version becomes the smartest decision. It's another reminder that good preparation is often just as valuable as building skill itself. As the completed Venom appears, I immediately begin inspecting the model instead of assuming everything transferred perfectly. Commands are incredibly powerful, but they're not always flawless. Depending on the surrounding terrain, orientation, or the way certain blocks interact, small imperfections can occasionally appear after a structure is pasted into the world. That's why experienced builders never consider a copied build completely finished without giving it a careful review. The final quality often depends on noticing tiny issues that most players would overlook. I replaced several damaged blocks on Venom's face with intact ones, restoring the clean shapes around his eyes and mouth. Those corrections might seem insignificant, yet the face is always the first place people look, meaning even the smallest flaws become much more noticeable there than anywhere else on the statue. Spending a little extra time polishing the most expressive features often has a much greater impact than making major changes somewhere less visible. This strategy reflects a lesson that's common not only in Minecraft, but in architecture, engineering, digital art, and many other creative fields. Professionals don't always start from an empty canvas every time they create something new. Great! My Venom is ready! It's time for me to show it to the guys.
What?
Wow, JJ, you've got an incredible Venom! He's so muscular and big. It's hard to believe that you built it yourself.
Thank you guys. I am very glad that you liked my building. Friends, be sure to write in the comments whose building you liked the most. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right.
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.